Let's bring in former Assistant FBI Director Chris Swecker. And Chris, let's start with Garland's pledge to not interfere in the Hunter Biden investigation, but still refusing to appoint a special counsel. Were you sold by Merrick Garland's assurances that you heard yesterday?
Not a bit. He could not explain why the might and power of the Justice Department under his supervision only seems to fall on people who are on the right wing of the political spectrum, who have conservative ideology. I was looking for answers to those questions, and what I saw were dodges and passing the buck. Oh, it's the agents that did it. It wasn't me. I think he's probably the poorest leader, the weakest attorney general I have seen in my 40 years in this business.
Chris, is there any type of oversight that can be given to Garland? Because, I mean, he ensured that they wouldn't be interfering with this investigation, those two investigations with the House and with the federal government. But is it one of those situations to where we just have to trust that he says, no, we're not going to interfere? And is his word good enough?
You know, this is the way it works. The U.S. Attorney knows what he's supposed to do. Merrick Garland knows what he's supposed to do. He's the surrogate for the administration. I mean, he's proven that. So it's just a wink and a nod. I don't, you know, he can pledge that he won't interfere all he wants, but there is no reason why the U.S. Attorney in Delaware should be sitting on this case for well over a year. It's very clear to me, as someone who ran the criminal division of the FBI and was a former prosecutor before I went in the FBI, that they have the evidence. Whatever evidence they have, they're just sitting on it, and they're delaying the decision. It's sort of let's run the clock out here. They need to make a prosecutive decision, and he can force that prosecutive decision. He doesn't have to dictate what it is, but he can force them to make a prosecutive decision instead of just sitting on it.
Chris, you nailed the key point. You have Grassley's whistleblowers. You have troves and troves of evidence, a lot of which we've disclosed on this very program. So you have to imagine there's even more stuff behind the scenes. Why is it taking so long to potentially charge Hunter? And I think you got to the bottom of it. Meantime, there was also this. AG Garland pressed on his directive to investigate concerned parents at school board meetings. Listen to this fiery exchange between Garland and Senator John Kennedy.
You issue a directive to your criminal division and to your counterintelligence or counterterrorism division to start investigating parents who are angry.
Nothing in my memorandum says to investigate parents who are angry. Quite the opposite. It says that the First Amendment protects that kind of vigorous debate.
Garland then went on to say FBI went to these meetings because of threats of violence. But you worked in the FBI. FBI handles big picture national things. Why is the FBI going to local school board meetings when they get a call of a threat of violence, something that I thought was handled by local police departments?
Well, since I ran the criminal division, it seems like the FBI has gotten very selective about what they work. And I know that from firsthand knowledge, as I still bring cases to the FBI as an attorney. And that, you know, he needs to reread that First Amendment. We see this in that memo. We see it in, in other areas. For example, the social media. I mean, the efforts to suppress First Amendment rights in their relationship with, in exercising their power and their relationship with the social media companies is off the charts. I mean, that is an egregious violation of the First Amendment. Along with this, and it seems like domestic terrorists only exist on the right wing again. You don't hear anything about the left-wing terrorists, domestic terrorists. You don't hear anything about prosecuting Black Lives Matter or Antifa in the Summer of Love when police cars were burned and officers were injured and buildings were torched, police departments taken over, City Hall damaged. You don't hear about that because there aren't any prosecutions on that side. I hate to get this vitriolic about it, and I hate to get into political opinion, but Merrick Garland is the perfect surrogate for this administration.
I mean, put yourself in the shoes of these parents who were at these school board meetings, or really any parent who would be concerned this would happen at their school with their kids. You see the memo. You hear what he said yesterday. What would you think? Would that be good enough?
No, his answers weren't good enough. I mean, this certainly has a chilling effect on parents exercising their right to understand and influence what goes on in the schools where their kids attend. I have 9 grandkids. I don't want any part of it. This is not the Justice Department's duty or responsibility to police school board meetings.
No, it is not. Jim Jordan, investigating this, put in a request for documents relating to this, received 4 documents. Unless those are 1,000-page documents each, that is not a good response, and there should be significant follow-up, and my gut tells me there will be. Chris Swecker, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.